But anyway, TRX4 Clone. I'm getting kind of involved in this thing, man. I had the other heavier tires that were not the Hyrax 4.7s. Yeah, they were Injora Hyrax clones also. These are not the tires I'm going to use on it, because these are the actual Proline Hyrax. They're really good tires that I'm trying to do this kind of inexpensive, but still functional. I've cleaned up the wiring a little bit, stuffed everything down. I was going through parts bins, going through my parts, trying to find heavy stuff to weight the bottom, and I remembered I had these tires on a different truck, so until I get some Injora beadlocks, metal beadlocks, I'm going to use these to keep the weight down. This metal bumper I've had for a while. I never used on anything, but it fit the Traxxas, and it is Injora makes a product. It's exactly like this. I don't think that I bought this off of the Injora brand when I did buy it. It was off of something else. This is not a Warren winch. It is a knockoff winch. I think the winch was only about 20 bucks. Then the little woo boob winch controller. All I had to do was solder a different fitting to connect the power. And I had to use the JST instead of the little bitty, whatever that thing's called. I replaced the burned up servo with a 9-gram servo, same as these. I believe that I burned it up. It was my fault. I was running 7 volts through the system instead of something that servo could handle. So it burned up after a few days. But I totally think it was my fault. Going through the parts bin, I found the programming card for this, for the 1080, so I reprogrammed everything. I have the reverse set so that it's 100% reverse now. Reset a couple of different parameters, drag brake and whatnot. I think I had this on a more of a race truck, like a rock bouncer before, so it was set up weird. Today I'm just going to use these 1300 milliamp hour. I got the Tattoo 75C and then a different battery that's only 35C. Oh, kitty. I've always been a kind of a, I guess, axial fanboy. I've liked the SCX-10, like the bombers, the Wraiths. And then the Traxxas came out, and it was just extremely expensive for what it was. It was mostly because of licensing, I think. But seeing all the TRX4 videos and the reviews, different competitions I've watched, that chassis is amazing. I was going to buy the Sport, and then I was like, I would just build axial. I will build something competitive in axial. I did, and you know, I got tons of parts. Like I said, I was going through parts bins just to find heavy stuff to add to this, and I am going to actually have some more Injora stuff coming in, and I'm going to try and get just simply Injora. And I've only ever really been impressed with their wheels, the beadlocks. and some of the bodies, and then some of the plastic, the roll cages and whatnot. You can pay 60, 70 bucks for the Injora hard bodies, where you're paying 200 or 300 bucks for like an RC 4-wheel drive or some other main staple hard body. The staple hard bodies are easier to conform, but just the lithium grease, the white lithium grease, is you can get a decent sized tube of it for 10 bucks. And with those higher diameter tires, it does well. I am really digging it. Anyway, always been like an Axial fanboy. And then Traxxas came out with a crawler. It was really good. It was really expensive. Saw how it crawled. It did well. I wanted to get one. Okay, I gotta adjust that a little bit again. This build is really intriguing me. I tried the Injora SEX10 knockoff. I hated that thing. Tried the Injora SEX10 axles. I hated those. But for, to build it up, it was like 150 bucks. And you had a working crawler. It didn't perform worth a crap, but you still had it. I'm sure that I can get I'm probably going to run lights, and I'm going to get that front mounted battery just to run lights off of direct battery. I generally go and go to AutoZone and get LEDs. I don't get the light kits for the trucks. I've tried a few of them. I don't really like them. They're not super bright. But you can get headlight LEDs. Oop. Can I save it? Oh, nice. You can get headlight LEDs. You can get the interior LEDs, dash, like real rock lights. And you can just run them off of a 12-volt LiPo. And they are super bright. A buddy of mine once had a truck. He put motorcycle headlights on it, and it would light up. Cat's trying to chase it. It would light up the entire side of his house. I am really, really impressed with this thing. I did not think that it was going to be as functionally good as something as simple as the Axial platform. I mean, I don't understand how Injora could have done so well with this one, and then the Axial one, the all-metal Axial SEX10 Injora product, yeah, that's pretty good. I was never actually able to get that front-mounted motor and diff case to work without burning up motors. So I just used the frame and skid plate, all the metal aluminum parts. They worked well, it balanced out the truck really well. I adjusted it up 5%. Maybe that'll do it. As you can see, the heavier tires, it works. It's working a lot better now. I mentioned in the description on an earlier video that I did take this out to the wood chip pile with the without the heavy axles. You could get to probably there, and if it wasn't sunk in the wood chips, it would roll. Damn, that was nice. I could not come down the front without it rolling. Like, I could not come down this back side here. It constantly rolled forward. It would flip without the heavier axles on the bottom. So let's see if this will work. Like right about there it would flip. Okay, that's good. It's a nice little slide through it. Like right there it would flip. Being a wood chip pile, you'd think that it would be kind of easy, but it's more or less like sand. So if you've ever tried to crawl up on sand, I think you'd have an easier time getting up the sand than you would the wood chips. I may leave these shocks on here. I mean, there seems to be enough flex. And as much as I did want, you know, that more flex, I mean, the longer the shocks I get, the higher the center of gravity is going to be. I've been messing around here in the back the last couple of days. Just talked to my neighbor, so I may be able to get some, does a lot of construction stuff, so I may be able to get large amounts of rock, concrete, stone. Does a lot of stone work. I used to do masonry work with him. It rolled over before with the non-metal, non-weighted tires. Rolled over out here on this thing, but it is crawling up. Baby kitty's wanting to play. Crawling up pretty nice. It got a little high centered, so I had to give it the juice. The Injora metal frames I liked. If it was metal or aluminum, I liked it. The plastic stuff was all just weak. The frame bracing for this thing, I don't really like that plastic. It seems a little fragile. But the axle plastic seems like a nylon. So I think it'll be fairly durable. The little bit that I have seen of the internals of the axles, most of it is exactly compatible with Traxxas parts, except for like one bearing and the shifting mechanism. But you can still use the spur and the ring and pinion of the internals as long as you use those on like this particular shifter. So I'm thinking about getting like the overdrive for the front, even though it's going to be like $60, which is something I didn't want to buy, like, or $30. Didn't want to buy a $30 gear for this, but I think it's worth it. This truck does not seem like it's going to be a piece of crap. And that was my main worry, was that it was going to be crappy. Like, totally crappy. I have been stuck on axle. Oh, that's okay. It's just a new hole, a new axle trap, a new axle hanger over there. Came out here one day before it rained and dug me a little hole. Let's see here. Let's see if it'll roll over. No, it didn't roll over. Good deal. Yeah, you can just blindside this over it. It was about to roll. I saw that. This truck seems pretty damn good for what it costs. I mean, I was not expecting it to do well at all. Whoops. But yeah, I'm liking this the way it is. Like, I can keep it as light as possible on top so that it doesn't high center gravity, and then just add weight to the lower. Some brass pieces. We've got a couple of things coming in.